The Young and the Restless spoilers Tuesday full episode September 16, 2025. For years, Kane Ashby has been carefully constructing an image and empire in Genoa City, one that thrived not just on business acumen but on his ability to outwit, outmaneuver, and outlast anyone who tried to dig too deeply into his past. He built walls of charm and guile, weaving together alliances and misdirections so that the truth about his identity and motives always stayed just out of reach. But no matter how high those walls were, there was one man they could not contain: Victor Newman. The titan of Newman Enterprises had seen too many would-be challengers come and go to be fooled by Kane's bravado. And now, as Kane stands toe-to-toe with Victor, the power dynamic is stark and undeniable. The ruthless polish that Kane had once worn like armor melts away under Victor's gaze, dissolving as quickly as candy in the mouth. For the first time in years, Kane is on the defensive, forced to confront the possibility that all of his years of plotting, scheming, and angling might crumble in the face of Victor's unrelenting dominance. The choice he faces is brutal: abandon his ambitions of toppling Billy Abbott and striking at Newman, or risk being crushed outright by a man who never forgives weakness. At least, that is what Kane says publicly. In whispered tones and calculated confessions, he gives the appearance of surrender, painting himself as a man too weary, too overmatched to continue his war. But Kane Ashby has never been one to show his true hand. What seems like defeat may only be misdirection, a lull designed to make Victor relax and to make Billy believe the storm has passed. Behind closed doors, the truth is always more complicated, and Kane knows that in a town like Genoa City, one wrong move can end a career while one brilliant feint can change everything. And that is why he turns to Amanda Sinclair. Amanda is no stranger to the shadows of power, nor is she easily manipulated. With her sharp legal mind and cool composure, she has the kind of clarity Kane lacks in the heat of his battle with Victor. Kane seeks her wisdom not only as an advisor but as a moral compass of sorts, hoping she will steer him away from the kind of recklessness that could leave him permanently exposed. He knows Amanda's intelligence is matched by her sense of restraint, and perhaps deep down he hopes she will stop him from leaping off a cliff in his obsession with Victor and Billy. Their meetings are tense, quiet affairs, conducted with the air of two people playing chess in a room full of watching eyes. Kane presses her for strategies, for loopholes, for ways to turn apparent defeat into eventual triumph. Amanda warns him of the cost, reminding him that not every battle is meant to be fought, and not every victory is worth the destruction it leaves behind. Whether Kane listens is another story entirely. For a man addicted to control, Amanda's counsel may be the only thing standing between him and disaster, or it may be the advice he twists into yet another justification for a long con only he understands. As Kane treads this dangerous line, another storm brews in a different corner of Genoa City. Phyllis Summers, whose name has become synonymous with schemes both brilliant and reckless, has never been one to forgive easily. And Michael Baldwin, a man whose career has often forced him to navigate the blurry line between personal loyalty and professional integrity, has found himself in her crosshairs more times than he can count. For months, a cold tension has defined their dynamic, born out of Michael's refusal to jeopardize his law license to indulge Phyllis's more outrageous plots. To Phyllis, his restraint had felt like betrayal. To Michael, it had been simple survival. Yet now, in a surprising twist, the two find themselves on the path toward reconciliation, or at least a fragile truce. Phyllis makes her terms crystal clear. She will forgive Michael for failing to back her in the past if he admits that he was wrong, that he should have risked it all for her, that his refusal to break the law in her name was a mistake. But Michael, ever pragmatic, refuses to rewrite history to soothe her pride. He stands firm in his belief that he had been right to protect his career, right to draw the line, right to stop short of plunging into the abyss. And yet, despite this refusal, he extends something unexpected: loyalty in the present. He may not apologize for the past, but he pledges his full support now, offering his skills, his energy, and his determination to back Phyllis in whatever she needs going forward. It is here that Kane re-enters the picture, altering the fragile balance between Phyllis and Michael. For reasons that remain murky but compelling, Phyllis has become something of a champion for Kane, drawn into his orbit and captivated by the audacity of his moves against Victor and Billy. To her, Kane represents the kind of daring, risk-embracing figure she has always admired. Samin, who refuses to play by the rules of Genoa City's elite and instead writes his own. Her enthusiasm for Kane is so pronounced that Michael cannot ignore it, and in a move that surprises even him, he agrees to consider working with Kane directly. Suddenly, the man who once distanced himself from Phyllis's dangerous gambits is now aligning himself with one of the most unpredictable players in town. All because Phyllis has chosen to invest her faith and her admiration in Kane's crusade. For a brief moment, it almost feels idyllic. Michael is on Phyllis's side, Phyllis is invigorated by Kane's daring, and Kane himself has two powerful allies willing to lend him their credibility. It feels, to Phyllis especially, like a new dawn, an opportunity to rewrite her narrative from disgraced schemer to the woman who backed the right horse and came out on top. But in Genoa City, peace never lasts. The danger lies not only in Kane's hidden agenda but also in Michael's integrity. For all his willingness to bend, Michael Baldwin is still a man tethered to the law, to the principles of right and wrong that guide his decisions. When push comes to shove, Michael's instinct will always be to do the right thing, even if it costs him alliances. And when that moment comes when Kane inevitably crosses a line too dangerous, too unethical, too destructive, Mitchell will not be able to follow. He will pull back. He will stand against Kane, and he will remind Phyllis that some battles are not worth fighting. But for Phyllis, who has poured her loyalty and pride into Kane's cause, Michael's inevitable defection will feel like betrayal all over again. Once more, she will see his integrity not as strength, but as weakness, not as moral clarity, but as a personal slight. And once more, the fragile peace between them will shatter. In the weeks ahead, the interplay between these storylines promises explosive consequences. Kane's reliance on Amanda may tether him to reason or may simply give him cover to continue his schemes. His dalliance with Phyllis and Michael's loyalty may create a powerhouse trial collapse under the weight of mistrust when Michael inevitably chooses law over loyalty. And through it all, Victor Newman remains the immovable force, the mountain against which Kane hurls himself again and again, the man whose shadow looms over every plot, every alliance, every whispered deal in Genoa City. The question that fans are left to ponder is not whether these alliances will hold the never debut, how spectacularly they will collapse, and who will be left standing when they do. Will Amanda's counsel save Kane from himself, or will he drag her into the chaos he thrives on? Will Phyllis finally learn to accept Michael's limits, or will his integrity forever keep them at odds? And will Kane, for all his scheming, finally achieve the victory he craves, or will Victor Newman, as always, stand triumphant when the dust settles? Ever since Kane Ashby made his return to Genoa City, the air has been thick with both nostalgia and unease. He wastes no time reminding anyone who will listen that he is no longer the lost soul who once stumbled through schemes and scandals but now a man of power, influence, and ambition. To Kane, his reemergence is a resurrection, a declaration that he has earned a seat at the table with the city's titans. But for all his bravado, one truth remains unchanged: his heart still beats restlessly for Lily Winters. No matter how much time has passed, no matter how often Lily has reinforced the boundaries between them, Kane remains convinced that their story is not over. Every word Lily utters to dismiss him, every declaration that the past is the past, only seems to deepen his conviction. Her insistence that they will never reunite echoes like a lyric from a pop anthem she has sung too many times to count, yet Kane refuses to hear the melody. For him, love is not negotiable, and rejection only fuels his determination to prove her wrong. But Kane's longing collides with the blunt frustration of Devon Hamilton, who has grown weary of watching his sister relive a chapter she insists is closed. Devon has endured enough personal losses and betrayals to recognize when someone is shackled to the past. And he sees clearly that Kane's obsession with Lily is not only painful for her but also dangerous for the balance of her future. His advice is curt, almost dismissive. It is time for Lily to forget her ex once and for all, time to stop looking backward and start living fully in the present. To Devon, Kane's persistence is not romantic but corrosive, and he urges Lily to cut the ties permanently. Yet in the world of Genoa City, advice rarely matches reality. As Devon delivers his brotherly wisdom, Kane's presence lingers in the background like a storm cloud, and Lily cannot fully shake the memories that tie them together. No matter how emphatically she denies it, Devon's plea may be heartfelt, But his warning also serves as an ironic reminder that in this city, no relationship is ever truly over. While the Ashby Winters tension simmers, another storyline unfolds with unexpected flair. Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, whose life has often been a whirlwind of business triumphs and personal drama, prepares a three-dimensional surprise for Christine Blair. The details remain under wraps, but given Lauren's flair for spectacle, it promises to be more than just a token gesture. Christine, having faced her share of battles both personal and professional, may find herself caught off guard by the depth of Lauren's gesture, one that could either celebrate their bond or unearth tensions long buried. Surprises in Genoa City are rarely simple, and the promise of something three-dimensional suggests that Lauren's move is as much about making a statement as it is about offering a gift. Viewers are left to wonder, is this an olive branch, a challenge, or perhaps a carefully crafted combination of both? Meanwhile, Jack Abbott, who has often worn the mantle of peacemaker and patriarch, steps into darker territory with a message for Nikki Newman that carries the weight of menace. Jack has stood at the crossroads of loyalty and rivalry with the Newmans for decades, but his warning to Nikki is particularly striking. The details of his message remain cloaked in secrecy, but the tone is enough to suggest that the Abbott-Newman balance of power is once again shifting. For Nikki, who has endured more than her share of battles within her family and beyond, Jack's words are not easily dismissed. The mere fact that he feels compelled to issue a warning speaks volumes about the turbulence to come, and fans will be left on edge wondering whether this signals a new alliance, a betrayal, or the unearthing of a dangerous truth. Amid these unfolding dramas, Phyllis Summers finds herself once again at a crossroads with Michael Baldwin. Their relationship, marked by years of shared battles, betrayals, and reconciliations, has always been defined by a volatile mix of respect and resentment. When Michael approaches her now, it is not simply as a friend or confidant but as a man with new professional obligations tied directly to Kane Ashby. Having been recruited by Kane, Michael now seeks to reconcile with Phyllis, hoping to find common ground and rekindle the fractured friendship that has so often hovered between loyalty and conflict. For Phyllis, however, Michael's words are not so easily accepted. She knows him too well, has seen him maneuver too many times not to recognize when he is hiding something. His polished reassurances ring hollow to her, and she senses immediately that his partnership with Kane is more complicated than he admits. For a woman whose instincts have often guided her through treacherous waters, Phyllis is quick to realize that Michael's involvement with Kane could either offer her an opportunity to align with power or serve as yet another betrayal waiting to explode. She remembers too clearly the times he has chosen his principles over their friendship, times when his refusal to cross certain lines left her exposed and humiliated. Now, as he extends his hand once more, she is torn between the desire to trust him and the fear that he is once again keeping part of the truth hidden from her. Kane, of course, thrives on this uncertainty. By drawing Michael into his orbit, he not only gains the expertise of a seasoned attorney but also drives a wedge into one of the most complex friendships in Genoa City. Kane understands that Phyllis, for all her resilience, longs to be valued, to be respected as someone who can stand shoulder to shoulder with the city's power players. By positioning himself as her champion while simultaneously engaging Michael's professional loyalty, Kane creates a triangle of tension that is as combustible as it is strategic. In this way, Kane asserts his newfound identity as a power broker, a man capable of reshaping the alliances that define Genoa City, even as his own fixation on Lily reveals the vulnerabilities beneath his polished exterior. The week ahead promises to be a tapestry woven from these interconnected threads: Kane's unrelenting pursuit of Lily, Devon's impatient counsel, Lauren's dramatic surprise for Christine, Jack's ominous message to Nikki, and the shifting dynamics between Phyllis and Michael under Kane's influence. Each storyline, distinct in its emotional resonance, intersects in the larger narrative of power, loyalty, and the relentless push and pull of family and ambition. Genoa City thrives on secrets, confrontations, and the endless cycle of love and betrayal, and this chapter is no exception. As Kane leans further into his role as both manipulator and romantic, fans will watch with anticipation to see whether his yearning for Lily leads to redemption or ruin. As Devon fights to protect his sister from old wounds, his frustration may only deepen the rift between them. As Lauren unveils her surprise for Christine, questions will rise about the true meaning behind her gesture. As Jack delivers his warning to Nikki, the fragile balance between the Abbotts and the Newmans may tilt dangerously. And as Phyllis and Michael navigate their complicated bond under the shadow of Kane's influence, the line between loyalty and betrayal will blur once again.